नमस्ते सब लोग, मैं जेसिका बोल रही हूँ यहाँ इनविजिबल इंडिया पॉडकास्ट के स्पेशल एपिसोड के लिए. और a lot of people have been asking recently, have gotten some new followers and whatnot, and I've been asking some questions, so I just wanted to take some time to address those questions. So question number 1 is, where are you from and how come you know Hindi? So Hindi kaise seekhe, Hindi kyun seekhe? I have 2 other episodes on the podcast. You can check those out. I am originally from Chicago area, Northern Illinois in the United States. And I first came to India back in 2006 for an internship. I then got very intrigued with Indian culture, and I basically just started learning Hindi as a part of my program that I was involved with. And I really wanted to understand and be able to connect well with the people that I was working with and with the people in the community. So I really fell in love with Indian culture, and it felt like something very interesting to me that I wanted to just be a part of. So Hindi क्यों सीखें? क्योंकि मैं इंडिया से ऐसे मतलब प्यार हो गया और लोगों से बहुत प्यार हो गया एक तरह का, और इंडियन संस्कृति, भारतीय संस्कृति को बहुत पसंद आया. और जैसे लोग मिलजुल कर रहते हैं और लोग एक दूसरे को बहुत ख्याल रखते हैं, और जो हज़ारों सालों के इतने ट्रेडिशंस, इतने मतलब परंपरा, इतने सारे संस्कार हैं जो आज तक लोग कर रहे हैं, ये मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगा. So the second question people ask is, how did I learn Hindi? And I have, again, another full episode on more details about that. But I did like a tuition, is what we call in India, right? I did like a private tuition with a friend, and I also did a full immersion program. And it still exists today. It's called OSLS. And the website is osls.info. I did that program, which was so helpful, and it really helped you to contextualize the content that is around you. So it wasn't just go learn from Bollywood films. It was, when you go buy vegetables today, you need to know how to ask, how much does it weigh, or कितने किलो के हैं, और आधा किलो दीजिए, एक पाव दीजिए. Different terms of like, so you would go practice those things, and then you would come back and you would listen to your tutor and study at those programs. Now it's 2020, the last 14 years I've been practicing. I've lived in India for about 8 of those years, and now currently living in Bihar, and also just practicing in whatever part of the community I was in, I was practicing and speaking Hindi. So I was able to keep it up. Another question people ask is, how did Abhishek and I meet? So again, we talk about this in episode 1, but just consolidating all of these commonly asked questions. So हम लोग कैसे मिले? हम लोग जैसे वो actually अपने master's degree के लिए आए थे. He had come for his master's degree in 2007 to the United States. I was in India and he was in the US. So it was like a flip-flop type of thing, where I was involved in his culture and then he was involved in my culture. I had finished up my internship in 2009, and I moved back to the US. So he and I got introduced through a friend because of some volunteer work we were involved with. And this friend introduced us and said, I can't believe you guys don't know each other already. But hence we had never met. So here we are. And I came to the US, and we decided to meet up, and we had a lot of mutual friends. So we just got to know each other as friends, and eventually it became something else. Question people ask a lot is, how do your in-laws feel about their son marrying a foreigner? I am very fortunate where Abhishek's parents are very open-minded. They're very traditional, but also very understanding. जितने पुराने सोच रखते हैं, इतने modern सोच भी साथ में रखते हैं. So I'm very fortunate that उन लोगों ने मुझे कभी रिजेक्ट नहीं किया है, वो खाली वो लोग उन लोगों को काफ़ी सरप्राइज हो गया था कि बेटा अमेरिकन से शादी करने वाला था. But we involved them in that process. It was a very conscious process. It was not like, oh, we're getting married. It was a slow process. We went through the right channels. We slowly got to communicate with the family about that. And you can hear more on one of the episodes that I also did about what we would change about our Indian wedding. You can listen to that one as well. We slowly talked to his parents, and in the right timing, kind of he brought up the topic that he had found someone. Now, the background story is also that Abhishek had this was not the first time that he had rocked the boat with his parents. I think sometimes if you're the golden child and if you're the only son, it can be really challenging to convince your parents that you want to do whatever you want to do, whether that's take a career path they don't agree with or marry someone they don't foresee being a part of their culture. But this is not the first time. So I think they were prepared a bit mentally for him to do something that was outside of their expectations. Another one people ask is, how many kids do you guys have? We have 2 children. I don't show or talk much about them just for their personal privacy. And partially the reason I do that is because we don't live in a large metropolitan area where there are a lot of foreigners. So people could find us and find our kids' school and things like that. We just don't want that to happen. So, and as you may know, in certain parts of India, there aren't as much protections or kind of law and order as other places where people just kind of leave each other alone. So we have 2 children, ages currently 6 and 3, boy and a girl. And a lot of people also ask, how are your kids learning Hindi, or are your kids bilingual? And the answer to that is yes. Our son is studying Hindi in school. He goes to a bilingual school in our state, and he is doing fantastic. He can read and write Hindi. वो पूरा हिंदी बोल लेते हैं. वो पूरा मतलब अपने दोस्त लोग के साथ, अपने टीचर के साथ, अपने दादा दादी के साथ हिंदी में बात करते हैं. तो वो पूरा मतलब हिंदी बोल लेते हैं. और हम लोग की बेटी जो 3 साल की है, वो भी पूरा अच्छा से हिंदी बोलती है. वो पूरा बिहारी accent में बोलती है. So our daughter is also quite fluent. She was born in India, so she has a real affinity for Indian culture, and she's really only been to the U.S., a very short part of her life. So she doesn't really have a huge. She's just starting to gain a connection with American culture. So that's a bit about the kids. One of the things people are asking currently right now is, why are you guys in the U.S.? So right now we're in the U.S. I just came for a short visit. Because of COVID, we got stuck in the summertime in India. We were supposed to have been in the U.S. for some family things and all that. My sister's wedding I sadly missed because of COVID. So that was really sad, but also we just needed to come now, and we had the opportunity to come. Flights had reopened in some capacity, and we decided to come because lockdown, as you know, in India was very intense. There was a lot of struggle involved, and anytime people talk about lockdown in America, I kind of roll my eyes, because not saying it wasn't hard, it's definitely hard here in some ways, especially for people who've lost their job and different things like that. The financial stakes are much higher in a country where things are so expensive. But as far as the level of freedom people have here, you can go for a walk, you can go to the store, whereas in our part of India, we were completely on lockdown. I mean, we could not leave the house for months. These children were not supposed to leave the house at all. You couldn't get a lot of the food and things that you needed to get. So it was a real struggle. And we had a lot of things we needed to do, paperwork, legal stuff, all kinds of things that we needed to get done. So we came to the US and we were able to get some of those things done, see family, go for walks, go to the store, things like that. And we are headed back to India very, very soon. Already booked. A few funny things that people ask is, do you know Indian cooking? Like, आपको Indian खाना बनाना आता है? I mean, obviously मैं इंडिया में रहती हूँ और इतने सालों से मतलब इंडियन आदमी के साथ रह रही हूँ, शादी की है 11 साल पहले almost, तो obviously मुझे आता है. If I didn't know at least a little bit of Indian cooking and lived in India, I would have a very sad life, I feel. I don't live in a large city where I can go out to like Chili's or like American places. So, I mean, you have to learn to make Indian food if you're going to live at least the kind of lifestyle where we live, where you're living in a smaller place where a lot of the food we make, you have to make from scratch. So I've learned a lot in the last several years about cooking in general and in Indian cooking specifically. तो हाँ, हम लोग like 90% Indian खाना खाते हैं and 10% I'll make US based food. मैं vegetarian हूँ, मेरे husband थोड़ा सा चिकन वगैरह खाते हैं, पर हम लोग mostly vegetarian ही खाते हैं. बच्चे लोग भी vegetarian ज़्यादा ही खाते हैं. So हमको बहुत पसंद है Indian खाना. What's not to like? It's an incredible cuisine. One hilarious thing which I find is whenever I post a picture in like sari or kurta or salwar kameez something, when I'm in India, I sometimes will get a comment from somebody on social media like, oh, you're like culturally appropriating. It's like, अरे यार मैं तो इंडिया में रहती हूँ, अगर मैं जीन और t-shirt पहन के घूम रही हूँ तो actually that's disrespectful. Because I don't live in a large city. I don't live in Chandigarh. I don't live in Kolkata even. I live in Bihar. And to be someone who stands out already, for me to wear Western clothes on a daily basis when my in-laws actually don't like it. My mother-in-law does not like Western clothes in India. If I'm in the US and I'm wearing Western clothes, no problem. She doesn't mind. It's the culture here. But if I'm in the more conservative area and I choose to wear Western clothes, that is disrespectful to the family. You know, I take this very seriously that I am the daughter-in-law and I carry, whether the feminist in me likes it or not, like I carry the like izzat of the family. I carry the like honor of the family with me, and I'm representing the family as I'm going out in the community. So I have to look and present myself in a way that honors the family. और अगर फटा हुआ जीन पहन के घूमती हूँ, which I do like to do, I do like my ripped jeans, but that is not something that represents the family. So I take that very seriously, and it is something I've had to learn over the years that चलो जब बाहर जाते हैं तब अपना जीन t-shirt पहन सकते हैं, but when I'm living in a smaller city in India, I need to follow what most women my age wear, which is generally kurta pajama or kurta with leggings rather. Sometimes kurta with jeans, but most of the women of my age and women who have children are not wearing Western clothes every day and in certain circumstances. So I've chosen to do that. I also don't overdo it and wear like sari and like huge bindi and all that and look like a very strange person. It's taken me some time. I know when I first moved, I was like pura sari wari पहन के इतना बड़ा सिंदूर यहाँ से वहाँ तक लगा के और चूड़ी यहाँ तक और सब कुछ मंगलसूत्र यहाँ से यहाँ तक पूरा चमक के पहनते. But now I'm more secure, I think, in my appearance and the way I present myself in the community, and I don't have to like be, first of all, the new bahu who's like shining bahu of showing that she's a new bride, because in India it does you can tell when someone's a new bride by the brightness of their clothes and the newness and the shininess. I'm past that phase now. I've been married for 11 years, so I'm more secure and I guess more muted in my clothes choices, Indian clothes choices, if that makes any sense. There's some of the questions about me. अगर आपके पास और सवाल हैं, आप भेज सकते हैं. मेरा email ID jessica@invisibleindia.com है. Yes, my email is here, jessica@invisibleindiapodcast.com. You can also listen to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, some of the Indian sites, JioSaavn, Gaana, etc. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and TikTok. Thank you so much. Namaste. Sunne ke liye dhanyavad.